Stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting has been noticed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. This commission acts in review and recommending capacity for designations and removal of historic properties and districts. The commission also reviews proposed National Register of Historic Places nominations. The commission has final decision-making authority on certificates of historic appropriateness. I'd like to introduce myself, English Hurto. I'm the chair of the commission. To my right is Anna Johnson, Amy Garrard, Joseph Dukes. To my left is Vice Chair Donna Gardner, Michael German, and Pat Jones. Also seated to my right is Assistant County Attorney Mark Bell, and to my left, Joel Evans, Director of Zoning and Planning.
Yeah. And my staff here today include Andrea Melisick-White, the Deputy Director, Monica Eustace, she'll be presenting today, as well as Emily Piggott. Also have Stephanie Ondo, she'll be taking the votes and the minutes, and Carrie Vacher, I see from our staff, is here as well.
Thank you. I would like to remind you that in order to get a good recording of the meeting for the minutes, please speak loudly and clearly into your microphones. The next agenda item is the approval of the minutes from the July 16th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Chair Hurto?
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes?
Aye.
Commissioner German?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
She's abstaining.
Abstain? Okay. Vice Chair Gardner?
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Millar?
I recuse myself since I'm just getting here.
And you might want to just go ahead and announce that Melanie is now.
Melanie Millar has now joined the meeting. Hi, Melanie.
So I'm late, a little traffic out there.
All right.
Okay. the ayes have
Okay,
it.
so the next agenda item is HIST 0225-00131, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Emily?
Thank you very much. So this certificate of historic appropriateness request is for the construction of a single-family dwelling unit and detached garage at 614-00-00331, also known as 1087 Gadsdenville Road, which is a property within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. These two slides show all of the CHA applications that we have received to date within this community. This case is coming back before the commission today after being first presented at the April 16th meeting. At that meeting, the HPC voted to defer the proposal based on staff's recommendation, which asked the applicant to propose changes to the home's design to break up the massing. Since then, the applicant has resubmitted an amended application that includes a new house plan. So the applicant is now proposing to construct a 2,750 square foot single family dwelling unit and a 480 massing of the new home now being proposed for this lot gives less of the effect of a solid block when compared to the home proposed with the prior application. And this design provides more relief from modulations in facades and roof lines. So here is the location of the subject property when we're looking at the county overall. And here's the location of the property when we're looking at the entire 10 Mile Community Historic District. Just to note, no CHA applications have been approved by the commission within 500 feet of this property. And here is a zoomed in view of the property along Gadsdenville Road, and it is entirely surrounded by properties within the historic district. The 10 Mile community was designated as a Charleston County Historic District in June of 2022. The community was also recognized in the 2016 Charleston County Cultural Resources Survey update as a remnant freedmen community that had significant social organization and settlement patterns. The subject property is zoned Special Management S3 and is currently undeveloped. The future land use designation is Urban Suburban Cultural Community Protection. All surrounding properties are zoned S3 and either contain single-family dwelling units or are undeveloped. And the subject parcel is in the X flood zone. So here's an aerial image of the subject property. And here is a site photo of the subject property when looking at it from Gadsdenville Road. And these are photos of the neighboring properties on either side. So here is the previous site plan that was presented at the April HPC meeting. And this is the new site plan that the applicant is presenting today. And here is a comparison between the two plans. You can see the previous plan on the left and the current proposal in front of y'all today on the right. Here is the elevations for the previous house, the house that came in front of y'all in April that you deferred. And the previous plans for the detached garage. And here is the new request. So this is the new house plan that the applicant's presenting today. And I do want to note that they have not proposed any changes to the plan for the detached garage. So here is a comparison of those elevations, starting with the front, the rear, the left elevations, and the right elevations. All right, so moving on to the approval criteria. So in response to the approval criteria number 1, staff said this area of the 10 Mile Community Historic District along Gadsdenville Road, which is close to Highway 17 North, contains homes that range from 995 to over 2,827 square feet. The proposed home size is within that existing range. The overwhelming majority of homes in this area were built between 1960 and the mid-1990s. There is only one home nearby that is newer, having been constructed in 2023, and it's also the largest of those nearby homes. The older homes are single-story bungalows and ranches or manufactured housing units, while the new home is a two-story, representative of some modern homeowner desires. The proposed home is also two-story, but incorporates stylistic elements such as a low-pitch gable roof, square columns, roof overhangs, triangle bracket supports, and a covered front porch, all of which are representative of many new traditional craftsman designs. The style of the proposed home is consistent with the newer construction in this area of the historic district, as well as being compatible with the older homes. There is no existing pattern of setbacks in this area of Gadsdenville Road, with setbacks ranging from 30 to 200 feet. Existing garages in this area are rare, although one home does have an attached garage, and small sheds are the most frequently seen accessory structures in this area. And we did want to note that the proposed plan does meet the current S3 zoning district requirements. In response to approval criteria 2, staff stated that no contributing resources have been designated within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Therefore, this application should be evaluated using the Commission Consideration section of the Historic Preservation Ordinance. The proposed home does not appear to impact any of the notable features the community outlined in the County Council designation. The proposed design lends itself to being new traditional craftsman, which does not appear to detract from the historic setting of the 10 Mile Community Historic District. And again, the proposed plan does meet the current S3 zoning requirements. Lastly, no negative impacts were identified. Therefore, staff felt the third criterion had also been met. And based on all of that, staff believes the applicable approval criteria have been met, so we are recommending approval with the following condition. Any major changes shall be processed pursuant to the requirements set forth in our Historic Preservation Ordinance. So we did receive quite a bit of public input prior to the April meeting. So regarding the older house plans, we had 4 comments and 1 petition with 104 signatures in opposition. Prior to today's meeting, after reviewing the updated plans, we received 3 comments plus 1 petition with 64 signatures in opposition, and we have not received any comments in support. And we did, of course, notice this meeting as required. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate staff's comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members? Okay, we will now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
So we had 2 people sign up to speak for this case. The applicant, Paul Seti.
Thank you for hearing us and giving us an opportunity to present. As our comments stated in the application, we hope you follow the recommendation and approve it.
And the second person that requested to speak, Craig Askew.
Good evening. Craig Askew, 987 Gadsdenville Road. Can you pull up one of the slides, anyone?
Which one?
Criteria. 1, 2, 3. So when you look at historical appropriateness for this house, it looks, the craftsmanship on it looks very old world. But what I would like to say is that nothing references the people that the land, the people that this property came from. How was this thing procured? Anytime we come up here, we always reference the people, the land, where it came from. It's important to you guys. I don't think that's one of the criteria, but in the setbacks. But again, let me back up. We always reference in the Gullah community the land. Where did it come from? I think that's important because most of these people got this land. It was some very toiling, hard work. If I come up here and I reference something, I always reference the people because they're important. Without the people, there's no preservation for the land. That's one thing. And the other thing, the setbacks, I think the setbacks are very important in the Gullah community too. If you can make setbacks more, better, great. If you can't, I understand it. But I think in the presentation it said the setbacks, there wasn't much verbiage or notations about the setbacks here. Those are my only 2 comments. Up or down, I'm not gonna say whether or not I like it or dislike it, but what I would say is that there's no reference. I remember the people that lived here before. They were very special people to me. I would see them every day. The Green family. Kendall Green and his brothers lived there. They were special people. This is my community. They were special people to me. How they got it, I can't remember. But I know that how they got it and how they lived there is a special thing. In these communities, these things make a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was it.
That was
for
it?
speakers, yeah.
Okay, so the case is now closed to public comment. Before any discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making a motion, please cite how each of the specific approval criteria have or have not been met.
Could I ask staff a question? How many times have we heard this particular property come up in front of us? And I know there's been revisions. I know we've had deferments.
Yeah.
How many?
I mean,
This property was presented at the April meeting of this year, so this is the second time
Second
you're seeing
time,
it.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I do have a question for staff as well. And this is in regards to the setbacks. Is this the setbacks for this home, proposed home, is that in compliance with the S3 zoning?
Yes, sir.
I actually have a question. I did note it in the staff responses that it says the proposed home does not appear to impact any of the notable features of the community that were outlined in the county council designation. And I do note that Mr. Askew indicated that there was something special that should be acknowledged. What notable feature specifically was met or not met that he might be referring to?
I don't know of any.
Okay.
Yeah, based on, again, this criterion has to refer to the designation as it was approved by county council. So we're just referencing the responses that the community gave us at those times.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Can you tell us, I know there were a couple comments, and obviously there were signatures as well, in opposition. Can you give us a couple of just the summation of the comments?
Yeah, most of the comments did not feel that this house of this size on a lot of this size was appropriate in the context of the community.
But it does obviously meet the zoning requirements.
It does.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, Chairwoman.
I have one more question.
Oh,
I apologize. Are there? Could you show us the list of cases that were approved, and of those cases, were there any that are similar to this case on a lot that size that were approved or disapproved?
I wouldn't know that off the top of my head.
Oh, that's okay. That's,
I'll just add that the S3 lot size is the lot size for that zoning district that exists there. So there'll probably be a mixture of some properties that were approved that met the R4 lot sizes when the properties were zoned R4 and subdivided accordingly. But in this particular case, these lots meet the designation of S3. And that S3 lot size is something that has been recently agreed upon by the community, and you'll be seeing, eventually will be implemented, but we're processing an overlay zoning district that reflects that S3 lot size for this area.
okay.
There's no motion to approve or deny.
I guess I'm concerned that we are having all of this, the petition, was it, Emily, 104?
104 and then 64
Yeah.
prior to this meeting.
In opposition of this, mostly because of the closeness of the houses?
No, ma'am. The size of the
size
house on
on-
this particular size
Size
lot.
lot. Right. I think that's what's really baffling for me.
And just a follow-on to that, it seems as if, from what I read from the residents in opposition, the length of this house is out of character, or it's longer than it is wide. That was some major concern that they had in reference to how homes look in this community. And it seems as if the house was, from what I read, this was made to fit in within the S3 back requirements. And 64 time and 100 the time before.
So, I don't mean to interrupt you, but before we actually have discussion, we really do need to have
I know.
a motion. So we need to either deny or approve or defer, I guess.
I make a motion that we approve. I appreciate also the applicant coming and trying to come back again and based on a deferment. From what I understand from speaking to a board member, Dukes, that there have been no homes built since, what, 2022? Is that correct? New homes built? 2023. So there's really nothing to really gauge, I mean, as far as appropriateness, in my opinion, and I know there are some opposition, but I also know that there's larger homes in this area, in this subdivision, because I've actually been there. So again, I asked for the motion to be passed based on criteria 3. There are no negative impacts, in my opinion, to the district. He's tried to minimize, and he's made an adaptation from the original plan. I don't believe in number 2 as well, that the proposed site improvements do not decrease the integrity historically. And with that being said, I think 2 and 3 speak for themselves, in my opinion.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Now that we have a motion and a second.
Okay. I guess I wanted to find out from the owner or the builder. You have had community meetings.
Wait.
Yeah, a motion has been made and it's seconded, and the discussion needs to stay with the group or with staff. Yes.
Okay, well, I guess I'll find out from the staff if you know that answer.
Okay.
Because here again, I know, we keep getting all of the negativity from the community. And that just really concerns me if the developer is going back and forth talking to the community. Why are we still getting this kind of feedback? So y'all don't have no idea about that?
We have an idea.
Oh, you do? Share with me then.
No, I think it was part of the earlier discussion. There has been a general concern of houses being much deeper than they are wide. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is actually being addressed in the overlay zoning district that is going to go through the process if it is adopted by Planning Commission and Council. But until then, we have a zoning district where houses have been built to this proportion before, and this lot size does meet the S3 zoning. Okay. And there's no guarantee as what future amendments may be part of the overlay zoning district.
Well, that helps me out some because I missed that meeting. So what I'm getting is, if we approve this, then there's a possibility of, from here on, all of the new houses could look like this, where it's going to go narrow instead of wide.
Well, that is
unless
actually, yeah.
It's passed, something is passed.
Right. That is the majority of the applications that we have are deeper than they are wide because of the nature of the lots, of the shape of the lots. Yes. So this is nothing new. This type of footprint on a lot in 10 Mile community that this group has seen. Yeah.
And so even though this is within the zoning, the current zoning as it is, our job is just to make sure whether or not this meets historical preservation standards, and what are those for this community? I guess that's my question.
Yes. So we are going back to, we're going to get some of that when an overlay district is adopted, but we will get even more detail in that when the 10 Mile community presents an area character analysis that can be adopted, that can be recommended by this body and adopted by council. So we're missing a couple of tools here.
I don't have that.
We don't have that. So all you have now is this criteria for approval under the current zoning.
And the designation for the 10 Mile Community Historic District is on your iPads. All the designations are on there if you ever want to refer to them.
But I think that was my comment back to you, Joe, from the last 2-3 meeting. It seems as if that the decision that needs to be made, and more importantly, help me make an informed decision, that piece is still missing. Now, I hear you talk about the overlay. I hear you talk about the area characterization that needs to be submitted so we can have some more definitive guidelines in terms of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. That has not been done yet. So, and we're going to hold, I don't see how I can hold to that, because in the interim, there has to be something. In the interim, to me, from my perspective, is the verbal commitments, verbal reply I'm getting from the majority of the people in that community, or the ones who are in opposition. And that's where I'm at on the fence in this, because it's a tough decision to make when the documents that are needed are not there, and this community has been approved for, or has this special designation, I'm going to guess, in over a year. So my question is, and then we seem to be, the county, the hole up in this process. It seems, in my opinion, that once that had been done, an interim document from that community should have been submitted. At least we would have a point of reference. But I'm hearing that until that's submitted and reviewed by your team, we're in the dark. And I think there's got to be a better way forward with this, because of the opposition you're getting in terms of the lot size and this house. I mean, we need more clarification. That's why I am on the fence. I want to make a good decision, but with the information I'm getting and the piecemeal response I'm getting in terms of what's legal or what's in the 1, 2, 3 areas that we can approve, it's totally gray. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion?
I'd just like to add to Mr. German's point that I believe the applicant has been very much helpful and responsive to come back and try to adhere to our request. And I think, as he states, Mr. German states, we can't just hold him in a limbo status because there is no directive from the community as far as the overlay. And I think that, based on that we should move forward.
Look, correction, I appreciate your comment, but that's not what I was implying. I'm saying that the community has to have something that has been submitted, but the problem is right back with the county. If I submit a document, it still has to be feathered throughout their process, but I think that initial document or whatever document is submitted is enough. It's a verbal until we get the written document to move forward. And what I'm saying is we don't have that particular guideline to support or not to support the decision based on the criteria that we have to make.
Well, I think that states that answers the question in itself. There is no guideline, so what's the point? Where do you go from here? Whose side?
Yeah, I mean, from a staff perspective, there's nothing for us to submit to you right now other than what the rules and regulations and requirements are under the current zoning. Every applicant, this one and every other one, they have the right to submit an application that meets the zoning requirements as far as setbacks, height, etc. The the architectural part of it, we have a little bit more latitude, the board does, because it addresses that historically. We have been working with the 10 Mile community for several years now to try to get exactly what it is that they want to see in the architecture more and these development standards. Nothing has been adopted yet. And we have to, as a staff and a county, we have to go by the rules and regulations that we have today.
Understood.
Unless you see something about the architectural character of the actual structure that you think does not meet their criteria, then that's where we are.
Okay, so is there any other discussion? Okay, so it's time for the vote.
This is to approve based on criteria 2 and 3. Chair Hurteau?
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes?
Aye.
Commissioner German? Commissioner Johnson?
I want to abstain from this.
Vice Chair Gardner?
Nay.
Commissioner Gerard? Aye. Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Millar?
Aye.
The ayes do have it. Do you want the vote? The numbers?
5.
And pardon for the record, please state it.
Okay. 5 ayes, 2 nays, 1 abstain.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is HIST 0425000135, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Monica, would you please present?
This certificate of historic appropriateness request is for the construction of a single-family detached dwelling unit with attached garage at TMS 614-00-00-271, 977 Bellas Lane, a property within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Since the designation of the 10 Mile Community as a Charleston County Historic District, 33 applications for certificates of historic appropriateness have been received to date. The 10 Mile community was recognized in the 2016 Charleston County Cultural Resources Survey update as a remnant freedmen community having significant social organization and settlement patterns. Recent applications include the designation of the 10 Mile community as a historic district in June of 2022 and the approved removal of 3 hazardous grand trees on this site in February of this year. This request was deferred by the Historic Preservation Commission at their June 18, 2025 meeting. The applicant submitted revised drawings for the front and right elevations on July 9, 2025. There were no changes made to the left or rear elevations. Here's the location of the subject property when looking at the county as a whole. This map shows the property's locations within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. This map shows the subject property's location off Bellas Lane in the 10 Mile Community Historic District. And here we have the location of approved certificates of historic appropriateness within 500 feet of the subject parcel that are outlined in blue. Approved certificates of historic appropriateness within 500 feet of the subject property include 942 Beehive Road, HIST 09-23-00100, approved on January 17, 2024, a 1,500 square foot single-family home. This is the approved site plan for 942 Beehive Road, showing the single-family detached dwelling unit on the lot. Also, 973 Bellas Lane, HIST 10-24-00117, was approved on November 20th, 2024. A 2,555 square foot single-family home. This is the approved site plan for 973 Bellas Lane, showing the single-family detached dwelling unit on the lot. And 965 Beehive Road, HIST 05-25-00138, approved June 18, 2025, for installation of an in-ground swimming pool behind the existing home. The applicant is proposing to construct a 3,145 square foot, two-story, single-family detached dwelling unit with attached garage on the vacant property at 977 Bellas Lane. The total impervious surface coverage for the lot will be 26%. The subject property is zoned Special Management S3 and is undeveloped. The future land use designation is Urban Suburban Cultural Community Protection. Surrounding properties to the north, east, west, and south are also zoned S3 and contain either single-family dwelling units or are undeveloped. The subject property is in the AE11 flood zone. Here is an aerial view of the subject property and the photo of the subject property off Bellas Lane. These are photos of the surrounding properties at 987 and 973 Bellas Lane. These are photos of the neighboring properties at 953 and 965 Bellas Lane. This is the proposed site plan showing the floor plan on the lot, along with 3 existing grand trees that are dying and have been approved for removal by staff arborist Kyle Foster. This is the aerial map with the proposed site plan overlaid for context. These are the proposed front and rear elevations. And these are the previous proposed front and rear elevations. These are the proposed left side and right side elevations. And these are the previous proposed left side and right side elevations. Here are the previous and current front elevations. Changes include raising the left gable to match the cross gable height and the addition of a balustrade on the first floor. These are the previous and current rear elevations. No changes were made to this elevation. These are the previous and current left elevations, and no changes were made to this elevation. Here are the previous and current right elevations. Changes made include the extension of the porch on the first story and the addition of a second story porch with a lengthened roof line. Staff response to the first criteria is that there was no mention of the architectural character in the 10-mile historic district designation made by County Council, and the application meets all zoning district requirements. The applicant is requesting permission to build a 2-story detached single-family home. The house features elements that are reminiscent of the craftsman and farmhouse styles seen throughout the 10-mile community historic district, such as covered front porch with square columns, a gabled roof, horizontal lap siding, and a garage facing the street. Home sizes in this section of the district vary from 1,074 to over 3,900 square feet. The proposed house is in line with current development at 3,145 square feet. Therefore, the proposed site improvements are compatible with the existing community. Staff response to the second criteria is that this application should be evaluated in accordance with Section 21-5.H.3 Commission consideration, as the 10-mile Community Historic District does not have any recognized contributing resources and the application meets all zoning district requirements. The dwelling is consistent with the design, scale, and mass of the existing development in this portion of the historic district and appears to have no impact on any of the community's notable features that were part of the county council designation. Furthermore, the 10 Mile Community Historic District's historic integrity would not be negatively impacted by the site renovations. Staff response to the third criteria is that no negative impacts to the 10 Mile Community Historic District have been identified. Therefore, this criterion has been met. Based on the applicant's responses, we believe the application meets the approval criteria. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following condition. All major changes shall be processed pursuant to Section 21-5.m, modifications to approve certificates of historic appropriateness of the Historic Preservation Ordinance. For the June 18, 2025 meeting, 3 comments in opposition, 1 petition in opposition with 38 signatures, and no comments in support were received. For the August 20th, 2025 meeting, 3 comments in opposition, 1 petition in opposition with 64 signatures, and no comments in support were received. This meeting was noticed as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members?
Question. Again, tell me what was the size of the home and the lot? Proposed.
31,
30.
It's a 3,145 square feet home, and the lot size is 0.29 acres.
And I think one of those slides showed an example of the proposed home on the lot.
Yes.
Can I just see that really quick? Just make sure I'm looking at the right one. What are the X's on there?
It's the trees.
Just the tree. Okay, gotcha.
That were approved to be removed
Gotcha.
because of their condition.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
Monica, was that same, the comments the same? Were they based on the size of the home, the opposition comments?
Right. The size.
General consensus?
Right. The size of the home and the general size and shape of the lot.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-on too. It seems like we're having a repeat of our last application in terms of lot size. I'm reading the same thing. The same amount of people from that community are in opposition. And once again, for the record, I'm not going to say we, I don't have, or I can't see a clear path forward because of an incomplete documentation. And I'm led to believe, for the record, that the community is the hold up on this. They are not saying what they want to have or what their community should look like a year down the road. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
We had 5 people sign up to speak. We'd like to start with the applicant unless they want to go last. But Bill Brodsky, the applicant.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for hearing my application. Previously, now, I just want to start out by explaining that the subdivision was originally approved in 1995 with the road, Asbellis Lane, and the 4 lots that are there existing. Each one of these lots are approximately 70-foot wide, not approximately, they're all 70-foot wide, and they're all about 205 to 210 feet deep. I stay within the S3 zone right now. I'm fully conforming to that zone. One of the things that has been asked of me many times, and you'll see me up here time after time, not only in the 10-mile community, but other communities, is to try to work with the community in trying to develop a plan and an idea of what the houses are going to look like. I have worked extensively, probably more extensively than you've heard anybody within these communities, trying to figure out, without the guidance of what Mr. German was talking about before, about how to go about making these applications. But I spent a lot of time looking at the historic Gola and the Geechee look and how that will impact. This house is particularly one where the Gola look has we have a couple of photographs showing 2 porches on each level. And the only difference is a lot of these houses are over 100 years old. They don't have garages. They didn't have cars, all right, or they just started having cars 100 years ago. So we tried our best to try to work within what we're doing in order to conform with the look that the 10-mile community is looking for. I, like the last application, have a narrow lot where the house is going to be deeper. As we go through and the overlay zone comes into play, hopefully that will give us more guidance. All right. My overall thing before I finish is I want to be able to work with the community on many different levels, not just this particular application or any future applications that I have. Thank you.
I have a question for the applicant. It looks like the changes that you made, and I know this is your second, third, maybe fourth time being here, and I do appreciate you working with us on that, were to make more space, to make another porch, a secondary porch upstairs, a screen, or maybe I'm misspeaking on this, a screen porch in addition. So it's more space now. I just was curious on your reasoning for that.
It's only through architecture, all right, to keep ourselves within the consistency of the Gola and the Geechee look. That was one of the big things that the staff had told me was to try to keep each house as different as we possibly can because of the nature of the subdivision, trying to keep them all distinctive. So that's what we're trying to do, trying to keep every house distinctive. The only thing that was added was a small porch over the other porch in the front of the house to keep the historic significance within that 10-mile community. As I said, I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make the houses different, but yet at the same time keeping the history within there. And I enjoy it. I really enjoy working with everybody and finding out what I can do, how I can do it, and how I can make a better community for it.
So just understanding that when you went back to revise or to just try to do something different here, did you this the only thing that really happened with just a secondary porch?
Well, one of the things from the deferment from last time, we changed the pitch on the front of the roof to meet the elevation on the existing one, and it gave it a distinctively different look. The other thing that we were missing that was, I think I told you last time I was here, that particular architect had cancer, and I was having problems with him finishing it off. So he didn't finish off the side look, showing the side elevation on the right-hand side of the front double porch. So I had to have another architect do that, and that's what you see now. You see from the side, the side elevation and everything else. I try to keep the board and batten shutters and everything. That's also part of the historic look of the area. As I said, it's my interest to try to keep everything within the historic community of the Gullah and the Geechee prior to us getting any guidance from the 10-mile community. So I've worked hard on trying to get this all done and make it look distinctive.
Can you remind us how many times you've been back in front of us?
Twice. This is my second time. I was deferred from June. Last time I was here, I was for the one on the left-hand side, which was 969.
Okay.
And in your particular case, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of comments that I heard from the last time was that they were talking about the subdivision, all right? But we couldn't do anything about the subdivision because it was 30 years old, all right? So we had to build the houses within the S3 zone to conform within the requirements of the S3 zone, and we did, all right? So now it's the large part, it's the architecture, all right? You didn't like the architecture from last time because I had a reverse gable with a large sweeping, and I had some dormers on it. I went back and I found out, and we have some pictures that we can give you. A lot of the old historic looks, even out of the 10 Mile, have the 10 on 12, 12 on 12 pitches of the roof, and they have a lot of dormers. That is standard not only within the Gullah Geechee look, but it's also standard within the 10 Mile. All right. So as I said, I have put a lot of time and a lot of interest, all right, into trying to do the right thing to try to make this. And I think within the whole road, especially on Bellis Lane, Bellis Lane was a narrow road when I got there. We restoned it. We took care of a lot of the drainage problems on the road and everything. Now, even on a heavy, heavy rain, after a heavy rain, there is absolutely no water that collects on that road. So as I said, we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to do the right thing within the community, all right, even with the architecture.
Appreciate your time and attention to this.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question too. You repeatedly said that in your description of the 10 Mile area, and I think I asked you this question before, and this is my concern again, with the number of opposition from the community that you are having with not only this particular site, other sites, because the number of opposition and the kind of the opposition are the same. And my question to you, again, I know you're talking to the county, the zoning and planning, but have you ever met with the leadership of that community?
Yes. The answer to you is yes, many times. Not only have I done that, I have been at many, many of the Saturday meetings that they have in the 10 Mile Community Center. I have met a lot of people. I've met a lot of people on the board. I'm probably of the mind that they're going to be in opposition to most everything until you really have something in place with them and with the county staff and with the county itself on how exactly you want it to look. We're going in right now semi-blind. All right, we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to make the presentations properly. But we're really not, and the board right now is not getting all of it. And I agree with what you said before, right? But at this point, we shouldn't be in the wrong because we're making the applications according to what we're asked to do and stay within the conformity of the zone. And we've done all of that. But we can't be asked to stop, nor should the homeowner who owns the property be asked to stop and not sell their property that they've paid taxes on for years and years, all right, until the county gets around to getting to give information to us so we know exactly what we're making for our application. We're doing our best to try to do it, and we're doing our best to stay within the conformity, especially with the history, especially within the Gullah and the Geechee history. I think that's probably the biggest issue right now. We can't do anything about the subdivision. The subdivision and the lots have been done for 30 years. So we have to work within what we're working with and what the staff has asked us to do in order for us to make a well-versed application. And that's what we're trying to do right now.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Am I good?
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Jonathan Roberts.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Roberts it's actually Joe Nathan Roberts, but my address is 965 Bella Lane. I'd like to address two things. One, when it comes to the 10 Mile community voicing their opinions of what they want and how they want the neighborhood to look, that's been done. It just hadn't been approved yet. So there could be some consideration given to that. Secondly, I'd like to support Mr. Brodsky's effort He's done an outstanding job in addressing the community, which most of the developers who come to 10 Mile don't do, which that in itself is a part of addressing the historic nature of a settlement community, because the most valuable thing there is the people. It's not necessarily the structure or the architecture, the setbacks, or any of that. It's addressing the needs of the people who live there, addressing their concerns as things grow and develop as they have to. And Mr. Brodsky has done an awesome job in doing that, down to addressing drainage and coordinating efforts with all the neighbors that live on that street to get support before he even starts, and doing the research, coming to talk to us to make sure that the people who live there, their concerns are addressed, whether you guys take that in consideration or not. So I support Mr. Brodsky's effort.
Pearl, I'm sorry, did you have a question? Press it harder. There you go.
I just want to be able to ask the community member a question. Is that
Okay.
possible? Please come forward one more
Could
time,
you come
sir.
forward one more time, please?
Mr.
Yes.
Jonathan? Yes.
Yes, hi.
Hey.
Commissioner Gardner, just had a question for you.
Yes,
You did
ma'am.
mention that one of your first comments was that that the community had come forward with some criteria at some point. You said they just hadn't been approved. Can you just mention maybe a couple of those criteria that you know of?
Some of the things that stick on the top of my head are address the size of the building on the lot, and the width versus length of house. And we understand some of those concerns. I understand those are real concerns of the community. It does change the nature of the community, visibility from one house to the other house. But I also understand that there's property that's being purchased to develop, and there's some adjustments and leeway that has to be given for the development to happen.
Okay.
The biggest thing, though, and I'll repeat, is that the developer engaging the community, especially those adjacent to the property that they're developing, and getting that buy-in is probably the most valuable, I'm going to say valuable, the most sensitive way of approaching this new development, and getting that kind of feedback and helping the adjacent neighbors live better or have some of their concerns addressed as the new developments are coming in, which that has not happened, did not happen on the 1087 approval that just went through. And that's where the opposition should stand and should be a part of the decision that you make. Not having that and having anybody come in and directly address the engagement of the community and the people, which are the most valuable part of a settlement community, to get that input and have those concerns addressed as a part of the development.
Thank you. And would you say that for those developers that have come to the community once, twice, several times, or more, has the community presented those same criteria each time to make sure that those developers are as consistent as possible?
Yes. And from my knowledge, even being on the committee in 10 Mile, Mr. Brodsky has been the only person to do that to the extent that he has, or any really.
Okay. Okay. I got just a follow on too. You say you live on Bellows Lane?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Well, I did drive the area just to kind of get a gauge of what we were reviewing. But you said something very interesting to me, and it sounds like you said it with a great degree of certainty, that those documents that would aid us in making a more informed decision has been submitted to planning and zoning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, well, that's good. Thank you.
Rather than leaving that hanging, just so I want to explain that. Yes, over a 3-year period, staff has gone out to the 10 Mile community to gather information we do have a draft of the overlay zoning district that addresses, I think I said this earlier in the meeting, some of these things that we're discussing, and that it is going to the Planning Commission in September for a recommendation to County Council and going through the adoption process. For that.
So Joel, I understood everything that was said, but in the interim, if you've got, in my opinion again, if you got a documentation that's been submitted, that may not be completely definitive, but it defines, in my opinion, what the community want. Now I know it's got to go through all the echelons to get a final document. However, if this is the will of the people in that community, that in itself should carry some weight, and how that reflects or can get to us is almost like what I said. It's not a legal document, but it's a verbal. We've got something to look for that's moving forward. And if this document is truly the desire of the residents in that Gullah Geechee African American community, that should be given some weight. And I am concerned not only for the 10 Mile community, but the Fulop and Hamlin community as well. I'm trying to understand, why is it taking, we did that. We identified them as being historic districts. Now the verbiage that defines that district, it seems like it's been lingering for years and years and years. And that, to me, should be something that could have been done in less than 30 days. This is what we're looking for. This is what we want. But we've got something to work with while it gets feathered through the layers that needs to approve or disapprove or what's going on. So we do have something. And that's why I'm confused when I hear what you just said. Then when I look at all the signatures in opposition, it seems to be some sort of disconnect somewhere in that process. And the answer to me is probably in that document, that draft that's already been submitted. Okay, thank you.
Just to address a couple things. So, yes, we have been working with the 10 Mile community for 3 years or more. And I agree it could have been done earlier. This was at the request of the 10 Mile community as we went through the drafts and us getting information from them and their ability to address the things that we were requesting. I would have preferred that it be done earlier myself, for everyone's sake. Not everyone in the community meeting is on the same page. And that will come out, I think, during the adoption process in September. So I cannot, as staff, tell this commission that because there's a draft that's being in process, that is the will of the entire community, because it's not. When we went out to the community and very critical questions, sometimes when we would ask the question, it was barely 50% would drive it one way or the other. So that's where we are there. So until County Council adopts a definitive ordinance, we have our ordinance in place today, and we hope that November timeframe we will have something adopted. The public process is whatever draft is in place. Planning Commission at the request of the community, and County Council at the request of the community can amend whatever it is that staff has put together from working with the communities. But it's not a law yet. And I can't use that until it is a law and adopted by County Council.
Thanks, Joel. Do we have any other speakers?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
For I'll ask you.
Good evening. Pearl Askew, 977 Gadsdenville Road, Allendale. Thank you to the commissioners and to the two previous spokesperson. We are talking about a settlement Gullah community, totally understandable. And what I'm hearing of is about the style and the culture and the Gullah community in general. But I brought some pictures. This is a house that's over 50 years old that's in the 10 Mile community. This house was pre-Hugo in the 10 Mile community. This house is Craig's great-grandmother's house in the 10 Mile community. This place of living is still currently in the 10 Mile community, and totally understandable that we are trying to restructure. This is pre-Hugo. That's my uncle's house, W.T. Thompson, in the 10 Mile community. This home, these homes, is also a part of the 10 Mile community. And the fact that we are doing overlay, making smaller lots, and this is another, this used to be in the 10 Mile community itself. That's from the Beaufort area. Here's another home built. This was built after Hugo in the 10 Mile community on Beehive Road. All that said, I agree with the developer that we're working with, this developer. He has been in the community more than any other developer, and I understand where the commissioners is coming from. You wanted to see something more solidified, but based on what we're talking about with the Bella Lane, that's been plus 30 years on those 5 lots. I totally agree with having home styles that's similar but yet different. Unfortunately, the house that's, I shouldn't say this, I'm not sure, but the first house, to me, it's completely out of character based on that area. But this is what we are trying to deal with, working with the other residents, with the area character appraisal, and getting the overlay done. And I totally agree with what Joel was saying. We have a real concern about how we move forward with the overlay district and how these homes should look in regards to the historical character of the community. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully we'll get some results based on going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Chair,
much.
I have a question for Ms. Askew. Thank you. Thank you so much for your remarks this afternoon. So you indicated that some of these houses on Bella Lane are out of character. How would you characterize what would be in character for that community?
Not Bella's Lane. I shouldn't say I said the first one, the first applicant.
Okay.
That house on Gadsdenville Road. Yeah, to me it was, but I mean, I just didn't say anything. You can take that off the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this house, you think that it might
these fit based on what I was disseminating. There's a similar roof styles. There are similarities in old 10 Mile, pre-Hugo, and I know 10 Mile was once rural, as we all know. Now it's urban suburbia. But those houses, especially the one on Gadsdenville Road, that house still stands. And you can see the structure of it with the dormers and the porches and whatnot. So we've got a lot of balancing here to do. As I said, the one that was first presented, I didn't sign for that, but that looks totally different from these that's being done on Bella.
So
my humble opinion.
So while for the record, as Joel indicated, we do not have anything official from the community that says this is how we want it to look, this is how we don't want it to look, this might work with it.
I hear you 100%.
So without that said, but with the other gentleman earlier saying that, they did have an issue sometimes with the houses being a little bit bigger than what the lot might accommodate it for. That was one of their issues. And you're saying that it might be okay maybe for this one. for this one, would you say that you think
repeat that may be okay for this
for the one that we're looking at right now, right, for Bella's Lane?
No, I didn't say might. I agree with the one. Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Okay.
With this one, yeah.
I thank you very.
I'm in agreement. As there was one previously built next to Jonathan. I think that's 973. I can't remember the actual address. The one that's almost completed. Can't remember the address. Yeah, but it's if you come within that area, based on what I'm showing here, there's some balance. You know, time bring on changes, but you still want to stay within a balance.
Okay.
And again, we must remember that some of these houses that's on larger plots, well, you got houses on larger plots, like the one on Gastonville Road. Well, we call that Candy Store House. You know, that's on a larger plot. That's been there for at least 80 years. And in the African American communities, historically, we didn't have the money to build a big house all at one time. We did it in phases. You know, all of that has to come to some kind of conclusion, if you would, because that's just the way how we live. That was our culture.
Absolutely.
But anyways, you know, I appreciate each and every one of you to take the time to look. But again, these developers have to come and speak to the residents, to
Absolutely.
the people. And we just need to take the time to understand what staff has to go through, what they have to do to get these things documented correctly so they can be present to you correctly. Because this team here, you have to make a really a solid decision.
We do.
Yeah, based on what the community wants. But I appreciate the developers, anyone coming and speaking to the community. Set up a separate time to do that, you know. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And as myself being a descendant of Gullah Geechee family from Beaufort, South Carolina, and knowing that my grandmother's house on Highway 21 was one of those homes that was sort of progressively built over time, I absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
But for purposes of what we definitely want to be able to do, as is our role here, it would definitely be beneficial for there to be consensus on exactly what the community needs and wants so that we can accelerate the information that we need to be able to make our decisions more precise and more consistent.
I totally agree. You guys have a hard job.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So thank you.
Especially since I consider it a relatively young new commission. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Marietta Work? I don't know the last name.
It's Miss Worthy, you know.
Worthy. Oh, sorry. Well, when I see the letters, I'll jump. Oh, she said no. Okay. And Craig Askew.
Hello, Craig Askew, 987 Gatsville Road. Just want to speak in support of the project and kind of reiterate some of the things that have been done about the project. We've looked at the design very intently, implementing intentionally Gullah Geechee, different styles and the different architecture that Pearl has given to you guys, even down to in some of those slides is a cross in some of the slides that you showed about the house.
Mr. Askew, can you please speak up just a little bit?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. But implementing simple designs in the Gullah Geechee architecture, even down to, if you can see in the slides you presented on the last home, so a cross. In the Gullah Geechee community, faith is a very, very big thing. And a lot of times you see those things in the outside of the house or the inside of the house. And then the vernacular of how we build in the community that Pearl mentioned, most houses there, you add on a piece, because there was no economy to do all this at one time. But we talk about those things and look at the dormers for the additional persons that you may have to take care of, and that's relevant or reflective of that now in the structures. We talked about the salt box, those dormers that stick out. And then the other thing, too, that we talk about with this Bella Lane property is the chain of title. Mr. Thompson is sitting right here. with his daughter and son-in-law. This is the chain of title. These people are here. And in the last applicant, there was no talk about chain of title. And in the Gullah Geechee community, that is a huge problem. How did you acquire this property? Have you talked to the property owner? A lot of times in our community, the chain of title is broken. People acquire property the wrong way. Is that my time up?
Thank you.
That's it.
That's all?
Yes.
Okay, so this case is now closed to public comment. Before we have any discussion, can we get a motion and a second from the commission?
I move that the application be approved based on criteria 2 and 3.
For the record, all the criteria must be met. That means it's compatible, does not decrease the historic integrity, and any negative impacts have been mitigated.
All criteria 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Oh,
Second. I'm sorry, I should have been louder.
Okay, so is there any discussion with the commission members? Okay.
In reference to the resident that lives on Bella Lane, I appreciate you sharing information about how the community on that road really feels. I think that, to me, sends a lot for me to look at, because I really am confused when I hear the community sends us comments in a negative way that they are not supportive of the project. But I'm hearing that it's like we have a division in the community overall. And I'd like to say I hope that the community gets together sometime soon to kind of decide which way you want to go, because it makes our job very difficult. I want to recognize the policies that we have to go by, that we have to work with right now. I don't always agree with it, but I understand about the policies at hand. And this time I'm going to be supportive of the policy, because I'm hearing that the residents on the road have really extensively discussed what they want. But now, for future, please, if everybody could kind of get together in that community, and if you're saying one road is going to look like this and another road is going to look like that, well, maybe that's good if I know that. I just need to have some consistency with that. So thank you for your comments.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, well, it's time for the vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurteau?
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes?
Aye.
Commissioner German? Aye. Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gardner?
Aye.
Commissioner Gerard?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones? Aye. Commissioner Millar?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is HIST 072500146, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Monica, would you like to discuss, please?
Yes. This is a certificate of historic appropriateness request for the facade revision of a single-family detached dwelling unit with attached garage at TMS 614-00-00-138, 973 Bellas Lane, a property within the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Since the designation of the 10 Mile Community as a Charleston County Historic District, 33 applications for certificates of historic appropriateness have been received to date. The 10 Mile community was recognized in the 2016 Charleston County Cultural Resources Survey update as a remnant freedmen community having significant social organization and settlement patterns. Recent applications include the designation of the 10 Mile community as a historic district in June of 2022, the CHA application for the construction of a single-family detached dwelling unit approved on November 20th, 2024. This request is coming before the Historic Preservation Commission again because the elevations of the house built differ from the elevations of the original approved Certificate of Historic Appropriateness. Here is the location of the subject property when looking at the county as a whole. This map shows the subject property's location in the 10 Mile Community Historic District and the property's location off of Bella's Lane. This map shows the location of the approved CHAs within 500 feet of the subject parcel outlined in blue. Approved certificates of historic appropriateness within 500 feet of the subject property include 942 Beehive Road, HIST 09-23-00100, approved on January 17, 2024, a 1,500 square foot single family home. And this is the approved site plan for 942 Beehive Road, showing the single family detached dwelling unit on the lot. 973 Bella's Lane, HIST 10-24-00117, approved on November 20th, 2024, a 2,555 square foot single family home. This is the approved site plan for 973 Bella's Lane, showing the single family detached dwelling unit on the lot. And 965 Beehive Road, HIST 05-25-00138, approved June 18, 2025, for installation of an in-ground swimming pool behind the existing home. The applicant is seeking approval for changes to the front facade of an approved 2,555 square foot, two-story, single-family detached dwelling unit at 973 Bella's Lane. Changes include the number of windows shown on the second floor of the front elevation and different style garage doors. The subject property is zoned Special Management S3 and is the site of a single-family dwelling unit. The future land use designation is Urban Suburban Cultural Community Protection. All surrounding properties are also zoned S3 and contain either single-family dwelling units or are undeveloped. The subject property is in the AE11 flood zone. Here is an aerial view of the subject property and a photo of the subject property on Bella's Lane. These are photos of the surrounding properties at 969 and 977 Bella's Lane, and photos of the neighboring properties at 953 and 965 Bella's Lane. These are the front and rear elevations showing the revised front elevation. Changes to the front facade include going from one window above the garage to two windows, going from 3 windows on the second floor above the entry to 2 windows, and changing the size and style of the garage doors. Staff response to the first criteria is that the 2-story single-family residence is reminiscent of the craftsman and farmhouse styles found throughout the 10 Mile Community Historic District, with its covered front porch with square posts, gable roof, board and batten siding, street-facing garage, and bracketed details. The changes to the as-built windows and garage are consistent with existing development. Therefore, the site modifications are compatible. Staff response to the second criteria is, since there are no recognized contributing resources in the 10 Mile Community Historic District, Section 21-5 5.H.3, commission consideration should be used to assess this application. The changes made to this structure, changing the number of windows shown on the second floor and altering the size and style of the garage doors, do not adversely affect the historic integrity of the 10 Mile Community Historic District. Staff response to the third criteria is no negative impacts have been identified, therefore this criterion has been met. Based on the applicant's responses, we believe that the application meets the approval criteria. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following condition. All major changes shall be processed pursuant to Section 21-5.M, modifications to approve certificates of historic appropriateness of the Historic Preservation Ordinance. 3 comments in opposition, 1 petition in opposition with 64 signatures, and no comments in support were received. This meeting was noticed as required. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, for your comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members? Okay. We'll now hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
We had 5 speakers sign up. Mr. Brodsky, we allow the applicant to speak first unless they don't want to. So if you want to go first, you're already up there.
Sorry about that, Joe. Yes, if everybody looks at the plans, what had happened when we came back from the November approval, there were originally 3 windows on the right-hand side and 1 window above the garage doors. And right now, all we did was take the 1 window from the 3 and moved it over to the above the garage. So now it's 2 and 2. And it balanced out much better that way. And it was supposed to be originally 2 and 2, but the architect screwed it up. So right now it's built with 2 and 2, and I think it balances out the look of the house much better. Instead of having 3 here and 1 here, especially for that bedroom, 1 window wouldn't be sufficing for that 1 bedroom. So that's why we did what we did, and the building permit application reflects the 2 and 2. As far as the garage doors, I think the way the architect drew it, he didn't draw it well enough where he showed definitively 2 garage doors. They sort of squished into each other. There's 2 garage doors on the original application, but as far as the application is concerned, it should have shown, and I agree with the staff, it should have shown us better definitive garage doors. And that's what we showed on the second one. More definitive with a separation of about 3 feet in between the 2 garage doors. So that's the entirety of the modifications. And I think they work better.
Is there also elevation modification?
No, just in the windows. That's it. Just the windows and the garage doors, and that's it.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Joe Nathan.
I stand in support of approval of this, the changes to that structure.
Thank you.
Freddie Manning Sr.
How y'all doing? Freddie B. Manning Sr. Property on Bella Lane, and I have property on Bella Lane via my father-in-law behind me, Mr. Willie Thompson Jr., via his wife, my daughter, via his daughter, my wife, 34 years, Karen L. Thompson Manning. We support Borowski, Joe Nathan, and Pearl Askew for building up this property on this lane so we can get to our property. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And, did you have a question?
I just had a general question that I wanted to ask
We
the
had
gentleman who was just up there.
Excuse me, we had a general question for you, if you don't mind.
Mr. Manning.
Mr. Manning, hi,
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner just had a question. This is a general question.
Sure.
Mr. Askew had referred to this before as you indicated that your father-in-law, I guess, was maybe the previous owner. And one of the issues that came up, and this might just be for future use because I think it might help meet maybe one other criteria that we may consider later, obviously not now, but he made mention of the fact that we would need to know the history so that we would understand who had the maybe the legacy of the property, and that it would be good to know who the previous owners were, particularly if they are of Gullah Geechee descent. If that is something that would normally be picked up on maybe in a title search, what specifically, if you know, short of Mr. Askew answering that question, but if you know maybe what Mr. Askew was referring to in terms of us knowing that history, that might help us understand maybe the historic integrity of these properties when we're considering these decisions later, when it becomes more official.
So, to my understanding is that, my father-in-law acquired property from his property from his parents, which goes back to the 1800s when a guy named Josh White had the property. So it kind of like got it from that way. And now here it is, been passed on to us, and whereas we're trying to get access to, because as you know, how heirs property can be to get to your property. So once we get ours established, then I can pass it on to my son. So, yes, it goes back to the 1800s. And as Pearl has said, that he's probably been touched for 80 years plus, and now it's the crab in the bucket concept where people want to pull down and try to move up. But, yes, so it goes back to a man named Mr. Josh White and to his father, to Mr. Willie Thompson Jr., down to his daughter, at the family of us. So they have been here. I'm going to come here, and we're going to make it happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. Pearl, did you speak on this one yet? I can't. No. Go ahead. Well, you signed up. Yeah.
Good evening again, 977 Gadsdenville Road, Pearl Askew. Just to piggyback on what was previously said in regards to this commission and the people of our 10-mile settlement community, I am so grateful to just to hear what Commissioner Johnson said in reference to the people in the Bella Lane area, along with the developer and the persons, the ownership of these properties, that we've gotten together. And all of that is a part of the culture. Exactly what you're saying. Craig said, we go back to find out the origin of these properties. And one, we also mentioned that, and this will be in the overlay, that when properties are sold and or purchased and new roadways or streets are named, we're asking that there be named after the ancestral streets. That's currently being done now, but we want to keep that process going on. Prior to us becoming a historical district, we had 3 developments that the names are not an associate with the past property owners or the ancestors, and we find that to be very discouraging, especially when a parcel is named after a person in the community who doesn't want the property to be named after him or her. And so anyway, these are some of the things that we are working on. Hopefully we will get it all together so the staff and the commissioners can have a better or a smoother path to make these decisions. I thank you so much, and I am in support of this particular applicant for this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May I ask Ms. Askew?
Oh,
Ms.
Askew.
Ms. Askew.
One question.
I might just have more of a comment than a question, but just thank you, first of all, for letting us know that you support this application that's come in, but also just to clarify the significance of why you want the history known, and if that is something that's going to be, if that's something that's going to be part of your criteria that comes in, indicating that the history is significant, not just because you want to know how that property was passed down, but also, and of course, knowing how to capture that history by a mere title search of who owned it before, but also memorializing it in the name of the street. That would be helpful to know if that's something that's also going to be in the criteria whenever
Yes.
you,
That's
by
a part-
consensus, pull all that together and put that in writing. I cannot emphasize.
And Emily, is
Please
Emily
for us
here?
to get that
That's what I was
information.
talking about the other day. But anyways, I'll get with you with that, Emily.
Yes.
In the meantime, that is a part of the overlay going forward. What we have to do is get boots on the ground, because a lot of times people will get in the meetings and it's going so fast, and if you're not in tune with what is going on and what the criteria and ordinance are, you can get lost in the soup. And I've heard exactly what Joel is saying and exactly what Mr. German is saying. We have to get boots on the ground in the 10-mile community and go sit down, probably door to door, or have separate meetings so people can really totally understand. Because 10 Mile is growing, and we have land rights, if you will. So we just wanted to keep the culture and the character, and especially that's why I sent those pictures up for the style of the homes. You can size, some of those homes are bigger, like Craig's grandma's house, Janie Mitchell Watson, but some of those same styles can come back in a size down portion, So we've got a lot of work to do. I'm old, but I'm willing to help. 80 years old, I'm still moving. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marietta? She's probably not. Okay. And Craig Askew. And that's the last one.
Craig Askew, 987 Gadsdenville Road. I support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant would like to speak one more time.
Yeah, that's up to y'all. You haven't closed it yet, but I think after that you closed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted, as I'm going through and I'm developing more, one of the things that I was looking forward to, and I've spoken to the Askews about this as well, and I know they're very involved in the 10-mile community. I would like to have some type, especially out of the 10-mile community, some type of narrative, of a written narrative, all right, in a booklet or a pamphlet or something, that I can give to my buyers when they come in to buy the house from me, and that the history doesn't get lost with the people that are now coming into the community. They understand the community. They understand the history of the community. They understand the history of the property. They understand everything that's going to be on there. So I can tell them this is what it was before you got here. So that's, if the 10 Mile can do that, and that's the only reason I got up to wanted to speak again. They can help me out with that, because I'm now finishing 973. It's going to go up for sale, and I want to make sure that the buyers understand the history of the 10 Mile. As I said, I am enthusiastically involved with all this, and I like it. All right, so I would like to make sure that they get that. Right, and I got one little last question. I got declined on 969, and it was in large part because Ms. Millar asked to show some pictures of the sweeping roofs that I had described and the dormers and everything that shows that. Can I bring that back in for another application? Because I'm not sure if I can or I can't.
According to our ordinance, there has to be substantial changes to the plans in order for us to reaccept the application, a new application.
So I have to change the plans around a bit in order to...
The other process would
Mr.
be
Brodsky,
through the
get
court
with me
process.
and Emily, and
Yeah.
we'll discuss your options.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this case is now closed to public comment. Before discussion, is there a motion and a second from the commission? When making, okay.
So moved on all three criteria.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the commission members?
I'd just like to say what a nice change it is to have the community that's here today to support the developer, and I can see that he's really spent time, and it makes such a difference to us. And that is something I think that we can all agree on. I know there's still a good bit of gray area with the overlays, and I think that you guys will handle that in due time. But it's still, we still see 3 comments and 64 signatures in opposition. So I know you're never going to get everybody on board, but this is a really great start. So thank you, and kudos to you guys for doing that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, we're ready to vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurteau?
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes?
Aye.
Commissioner German? Aye. Commissioner Johnson? Aye. Vice Chair Gardner? Aye. Commissioner Gardner, or Gerard, sorry. Aye. Commissioner Jones? Aye. Commissioner Millar?
Aye.
The motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal the decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is HIST 072500145, a request for a certificate of historic appropriateness. Emily, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So this certificate of historic appropriateness request is for the construction of a single-family dwelling unit with an attached garage at TMS 578000069, also known as 1344 Hamlin Road. It's a property within the Hamlin Beach Community Historic District. So this slide shows all of the CHA applications we've received to date in the Hamlin Beach community. The Hamlin Beach community began in 1881 when the South Carolina Land Commission sold former plantation land to previously enslaved individuals, and that land was subdivided and sold off into 30 10-acre lots. So here's the location of the subject property when we're looking at the county overall. And here's the subject property in relation to the entire Hamlin Beach Community Historic District. Here is a closer view of the property. So the parcels across Hamlin Road that are not within the historic district are within the town of Mount Pleasant's jurisdiction. All right, so the William Hamlin Cemetery is the closest identified contributing resource to the subject property. It's shown here in blue. It is located across Hamlin Road and behind an existing residence and is not visible from the right-of-way. The applicant describes the proposed home as a 2,194 square feet with a 564 square foot attached garage, which is a side entry design. The home features covered porches in both the front and the rear and will be constructed slab on grade. Exterior materials include composite siding with cedar crow's feet accents, vinyl windows and shutters, and an asphalt shingle roof. The impervious surface coverage proposed is 12.4% of the lot. Additionally, the applicant notes that the previous home on the lot was sited in the same location as the proposed home and that there are no contributing historic resources on the property. So the subject property is a zoned residential area within the Mount Pleasant Overlay Zoning District, Sweet Grass Basket Stand Special Consideration Area, and recently had the existing single-family dwelling on the property demolished, which leaves the property vacant. The future land use designation is the same as its current zoning. Surrounding properties to the north, south, and east are zoned S3 and contain single-family dwelling units or manufactured housing units. Properties to the west across Hamlin Road are in the town of Mount Pleasant, zone community conservation, and contain single-family dwelling units. And this parcel is in the shaded X-flood zone. So here is an aerial view of the subject property. Again, please note our aerial imagery is about 2 years old now. So you're seeing an existing home on this lot. That home is no longer there. It has since been demolished. So you can see here in the site photos what the lot currently looks like. And these are the neighboring properties on either side. And this is a view looking towards the William Hamlin Cemetery, which again is the nearest contributing resource. And this photo was taken from the subject property, looking across Hamlin Road. Here is the proposed site plan showing the new home with the attached garage on the right-hand side. And here is that same site plan overlaid on top of the aerial map, just to give you all some context. Here are the perspectives of the front and rear, along with the front and rear elevations and the left and right elevations. In response to criteria 1, staff stated that the proposed home design, as well as the overall site design, including the location of the proposed home on the lot and the mass of the home in relation to the lot, size is consistent with existing development within this area of the Hamlin Beach Community Historic District along Hamlin Road, north of Rifle Range Road. The request meets the current Mount Pleasant Overlay Zoning District requirements as well. Response to criterion 2. The closest identified contributing resource to the subject parcel is the William Hamlin Cemetery, again located behind the home across the street from the subject property. Cemetery is not visible from Hamlin Road or Rifle Range Road, with development surrounding it on the north, east, and south, and a new residential subdivision being built to the west within the town of Mount Pleasant. Because of these conditions, the proposed site improvements will not decrease the historic integrity of properties that contain identified contributing resources. No negative impacts to the Hamlin Beach Community District have been identified as a result of this application. And based on the applicant's responses, staff believes that the approval criteria have been met. So we are recommending approval with the following condition. All major changes shall be processed pursuant to the requirements set forth in our historic preservation ordinance. We did receive one comment in support and no comments in opposition. And of course, we noticed the meeting as required. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily, for your comprehensive report. Are there any questions for staff from the commission members?
I do have one.
Okay.
I know you mentioned that the William Hamlin Cemetery is in back of the home. So where is the access to the cemetery? I'm not sure about that.
So the way that the cemetery is laid out, and I'm going to try to show you on the historic district map. Oh, well, that actually might be a good. So if you could see here, Commissioner Johnson, that small blue parcel, that is the cemetery. So it appears to be landlocked. So I'm not exactly privy to how the cemetery gets accessed. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of, this might actually even be an easier. So if you're looking on this map here, just across the street, it's the only property in pink, that very small property, because it's entirely surrounded by the town of Mount Pleasant.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we are approving a house that's landlocking the cemetery?
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's across the street from where?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
There
I just
is
wanted to make
already
sure.
existing development surrounding the cemetery that occurred within the town.
And very clearly, it is not on top of the cemetery.
It is not, as far as I know. There is a very distinct.
I want to be clear now because I'm
I
fighting
wouldn't
the
be able
cemetery
to
thing
confirm
here.
or deny that.
I got to make sure it's not doing that.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. So now we will hear public comment. Each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Please state your name and address before giving your comments.
And there was one person that signed up to speak, Matt McCauley, and that's the applicant.
My name is Matt McCauley. My address is at 171 Church Street, Suite 340, Charleston, South Carolina, 29401. I think as you will note from the presentation, we don't have a lot of context of past cases to draw on. The only case that's been considered was for an elevated pool. But I feel like we've done, and hopefully it shows, a good job in maintaining the massing, siding, and of the district in order to be consistent with the overwhelming pattern of development.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Just looking for neighboring properties to see relationship as far as type of homes.
Here's the neighboring properties.
So my question about it's a beautiful home, but my question pertains to the garage. It seems different. I mean, the garage being over on the side as opposed to the front, which is normally the way that this historically looks like these, the garages have, if there was a garage on a home. So that's just my only thing that I noticed. It's a little bit different off. I'm just curious, is there a reason that was chosen to be
So kind of our thought with that is, given that the overwhelming prevailing pattern of homes do not typically include garages, that we were attempting to minimize that feature by facing the garage doors away from the street and have a window patterning that more mirrors the house proper.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
This case is now closed to public comment. Before we begin discussion, can we get a motion and a second from the commission?
I move to approve the request because the approval criteria has been met for 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the commission members? Okay. So if there is no further discussion, then it's time for a vote.
On the move to approve, Chair Hurteau,
Aye.
Commissioner Dukes,
Aye.
Commissioner German,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson, Vice Chair Gardner, Commissioner Gerard, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Millar.
Aye.
The motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. This is the final decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. If any person with a substantial interest in a decision of the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to appeal this decision, they may do so to the Circuit Court of Charleston County. Such appeal shall be filed within 30 calendar days after today's date. The next agenda item is a discussion about amendments to rules and procedures.
I apologize. I did not have that pulled up. That was my bad, but I will have it pulled up right now. But just to remind you, this is to go off of the discussion that we had immediately after passing the amendment about the tie votes and how many meetings that can continue on for.
Because we have 8 again today.
What?
We have eight members again today.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
to that point.
Yeah.
So I apologize while I pull it up right here. Basically, we're going, oh, that was not it. We're going off of Robert's rules, and we're proposing that we can accept a tie vote up to 3 meetings. So in theory, that would be 1 meeting and then 3 deferrals. So that would be 4 meetings total that the applicant would be at. If we do not have that at the 3rd meeting, the 3rd deferred meeting, the motion will fail.
Right. So it can't continue into infinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, we're just asking here, is the 3 deferrals a time period you all are comfortable with for a total of 4 meetings the applicant would be at? And then also our interpretation of the motion failing at that point, which goes back to Robert's rules.
I think that since it's following Robert's Rules of Order, that works for me. I mean, it's pretty substantial.
I will generally add that then the concept is what follows Robert's rules. Then the amount of time is not specified. So that should be for you guys to consider.
Yes.
Now, some people may consider 4 meetings to be a lot because that is a lot of applicant time that, they may be waiting for a decision. And so should this body choose to make that time shorter, that is totally doable, and that is not a requirement from staff or Robert's rules.
Yeah, an argument could be made that 2 deferrals in a row is enough. And that when you get to the 3rd one, it's denied, yeah. So.
2 deferrals and the first time we hear it, and then 2 more times, total of 3.
Yeah.
The way it's written is right now for a total of 3 deferrals, yeah. So at the end of that 4th meeting, the motion would fail.
So right now we have 3?
Right now it's infinity.
Right now it's infinity, yes. It's up to the...
Right.
So you want us to make a motion or what?
This is just for discussion. We're going to be voting on this next month, and we're happy to take any feedback and incorporate any edits and come back to you all.
Well, since I had the floor, I'll just continue on to say I think 3 is enough.
I like the fact that we're following the process, but I agree. I think that the time is important to us and to the people that are, coming forward, and I believe 3 would be plenty.
I think I would also agree 3, maybe 2, but because I think it really depends on what our quorum is, because there might be a tie. I don't know what our quorum is, but whatever our quorum is, if we have just enough and it's still a tie, and then the next meeting, we might have one more person, but then it's still. I just think it just goes on and on. So I think, I don't know. I'll go with 3, but I'm okay with just 2.
Want to be here for 4.
No.
Well, if 2 is what the commission seems most interested in, we'd be happy to present 2 for you all.
In my
at
opinion,
the vote
2 should be sufficient, in my opinion.
And that would be, 3 months for the applicant versus 4.
That's what works.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
We'll draft it up with 2 as a final draft, and you can vote on it next meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. So as a reminder, the conceptual plan workshop will begin immediately following the conclusion of today's Historic Preservation Commission meeting. If there is no further business, this meeting of the Charleston County Historic Preservation Commission stands adjourned. The commission will hold its next regularly scheduled meeting on September 17, 2025 in council chambers. So now we go into the workshop. Welcome to the August 2025 Charleston County Historic Preservation Commission workshop. This workshop has been noticed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. The first item on the agenda is a conceptual plan workshop. The applicant is proposing the construction of a new 10,300 square foot Family Life Center building and exterior renovations to the existing Fellowship Hall to allow for its conversion to a children's ministry building at TMS 257-0000033, 2550-2554 Bohicket Road. This project will also include a new columbarium, gravel parking area, water retention area, and pedestrian walkways. Mr. Jeff Johnson, if you'd like to present, please.
And Mr. Johnson, you're more than welcome to stand at that podium or come over here. I can drive for you.
Yeah.
And then whatever you want to do. Yeah, it's totally up to you, and however you want to drive it. Scrolling arrows.
Scrolling arrows.
It all works.
Words. Great. Well, thank you guys for listening to me today. I bring before you this project, Johns Island Presbyterian Church. It's a roughly 12-acre parcel, and as we mentioned, we want to do a 10,000 square foot Family Life Center addition to that. This campus has, I'm going to just scroll through some images, the slides. There are a couple structures on the site that are important that are informing the design. So I'm going to start on the far left. The far left is a box that's a fellowship hall that was built in 1954. And then the cultural resource of significance is the church building. It was built probably in 1722 or early 1800. It's kind of hard to tell. I think there's some debate. I think it's early 1800s, but whatever. It's historic and it's beautiful. And then lastly, on the upper left is, or upper right, excuse me, is a manse building that was built in 1952. And that manse has been converted to offices now. I guess another asset of the site that's important to think about is the land itself. It's agrarian in nature and in character, and the trees. I think there's some beautiful trees on the property too. This is the existing church, the cultural resource of major significance, and it's significant to me. It's significant to the owner. It's significant to the community as well. And there's some things that are really beautiful of it that we were studying here, and this is some images that were precedent images. The scale and proportion of it was just beautiful, and thought that we ought to try to replicate that. And then looking at some other colonial era structures that would inform a campus, right? So we're trying to create a campus here that is very tied together stylistically. So if I had to pin a style to this new addition, it would be more colonial English, early English, similar to the church building. So here are the three elements on this slide. Here in the far left, again, is the Fellowship Hall, 1954. In the middle of the screen is the sanctuary, which is early 1800s. And then our proposed building, which doesn't interact with any of those buildings directly. And there, I guess another element that's important is graveyard cemetery. And we did some ground penetrating radar and made sure that we're out of the grave areas, and we are. Yeah, so the boundaries that came up on the survey is true to the boundaries that we see in real life. That's always helpful. So you can see that the primary mass that's kind of coming in and out of the page, and I'll use my mouse? Yeah. This guy is the Fellowship Hall, and the wing that goes off to the side is the classroom building. And we broke up the mass intentionally to A, have respect to the church, the old church building, and B, to break up the mass to make it feel like it was more of character. So that classroom building, it could have like slammed right into the church building, but it doesn't, or the Fellowship Hall. So we wanted to create that to be like a little classroom building, like it would be in 1900, a separate building, and then the Fellowship Hall itself being its own thing that directly mimics a proportion of the Fellowship Hall, or the church. And then I think someone mentioned the columbarium. That columbarium is planned to be over here in the grass area. Again, not conflicting with any graves. Another image here that just talks about when we look at the historical chapel, our church, we were trying to be in deference to it. So we put the building, the new building, further away from the road, Bohicket, as the existing church is. And then you can see these circles on the plan, and the circles on the plan are trees. And in your package, I think, talks about the impacts to the trees or the encroachments to the trees, which are, to us, as significant as the building. So when we were planning the design, we were wanting to have some close proximity of the building, the new Fellowship Hall, to the church. So it's got to have a closeness. We want it to be in deference to the church, so we kind of pushed it back a little bit and moved it off to the side and put it behind a tree or two or three to help to minimize the impact to it. And these are some other perspectives that show the church in the foreground and the Fellowship Hall in the background, and the way we've broken up the mass to kind of help, again, emphasize the importance of the historic church. And getting a little closer. Historical elements. The materials are fiber cement siding, fiber cement trim. We'll have some wood trim as well, and some aluminum clad windows and real wood doors. So again, we're trying to be compatible with the materials. Here's the floor plan, roof plan. A lot of care was taken to break down the mass of this big building so it's compatible to the existing, and some elevations. Some of those earlier drawings that talked about the golden section, and we were very sensitive about making sure that this building had the same proportions as the other building. And that might be the end. Here's some civil drawings that talk about the tree encroachments. Most of the materials, we're seeking a couple variances with the county. One is to continue an unplanted buffer on Bohicket, which is now required, so that agrarian component conveys. Two, the current site has some grass parking, and we want to continue the grass parking that's there today, again, to contribute to that agrarian feel. And lastly, there's some tree encroachment that we need, and that is specific to the building placement. And again, when we're thinking about building placement, we're thinking about deference to the historic chapel, church, and also how can we locate the building to best be diminutive on the site and also have a sense of timelessness to it. There's been a couple iterations, I guess, over time when we've been moving this plan and figuring out what the size of the building needed to be. The front of the Fellowship Hall used to have a big church or a porch on it, column porch, and we removed that to help be more sensitive to the site, the tree, and the more grassed area. And then also we're just slowly shrinking in the footprint just to get what we need to serve the function of the church. The function is they want this to be a fellowship hall that serves their congregation. And praise God, the congregation's growing and the community's growing as well. And they want to serve the community in which it sits. So that's, in a nutshell, the project, and I'm happy to entertain any questions. We were asked to come before you to get some feedback on the design to date before we go any further with the design. So happy to hear comments or thoughts or suggestions or a path forward. And thank you for your time, and thank you for your volunteering for the County of Charleston. I certainly appreciate it.
It is beautiful. Thank you. How big is the actual site?
It's about 12 acres. It's 11.6 acres. And that's kind of shown in this image. It's on the screen now. So as part of the process, we did redraw some property lines to get to this point here. This used to be the property line boundary, and we've done some adjustments.
The former fellowship hall, will that be demolished?
No, thank you. The idea is that fellowship hall would be converted to children's ministry space.
Okay.
Thank you. That is, on this plan, it would be the one that's on the far left bottom, the one that was built in 1954. It's a cinder block building. It's really kind of, yeah. We're trying to figure out the budget. The budget is pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to at least put siding on the front elevation so it matches. The church would too. We're just trying to figure out the budget. They're up against it.
About the capacity, if you know that of the old building and what you're proposing for the new and your parking area.
Yeah.
And number.
I don't know the capacity of the current church. Their membership is right around 230.
That's small.
Yes, it's a pretty small congregation. Yeah.
So this one.
The same capacity, trying to fit that same number. Just in their current fellowship hall probably maybe can comfortably put in maybe 75 people, 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So they want a fellowship. Huh?
They're not looking to grow past what they have now?
I think what they want is an equivalent facility to have 250 over here and 250 over there.
Oh.
So that they've entertained the idea of multiple services. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but they may or may not. 2 different styles, which is common these days.
So the parking is going to be, what, regular asphalt?
The new parking is gravel.
Oh,
the new parking is gravel.
All right.
Go back to that site plan, wherever it is. So the desire, which is different than the requirement, the desire is to keep grass parking where it was and is. New parking, because we're under new requirements, would be gravel. ADA parking spaces would be provided in concrete. That's the desire. And again, I think part of that in our thinking is that it carries over the historical context of the site. The congregants have been very vocal about, we love the rural nature of the church. And, it's got there used to be cows on the property here. There's a fence that's just a simple pipe fence. It was built in the 1900s, and someone probably put it together themselves. They want to replicate that. So every move we've been thinking about has been towards maintaining, and it's going to be hard, frankly, the agrarian context that was there. So.
Question: on the left side of the building, are those all doorways to go into the corridors?
Yeah, that's a great question. So originally, I wanted them to be doors, And originally there were twice as many windows, but there's just one pair of doors in the middle. The rest are windows. Yeah. And the thinking there was that a bride could proceed from the center should they do weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's great access as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, so that front porch, actually, we're looking at the grading plan now to minimize the impacts to the trees. We're going to lower the building, and that will get rid of those that front raised porch right here. And then this area also is going to be more like 2 steps, not 4 on the left. So we're trying to, this is what design is about, right? It molds and it moves and it flushes, but no flood zone. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to lower the building footprint so that we're minimizing the impact to the site. Great questions. It is. Expand it. It will be likely a new system. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Yep. Yep. That's beyond my pay grade. Yeah. That's right. Anyway. That's where we are. The hopes is to come before the board with an actual real-life submittal in the next couple months, several months.
Do you have any questions for us?
No. Should I have questions?
No, I was just curious if you...
If we thought that we needed to do some changes, we would tell you.
Yeah. It's really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. We're excited about it. I know the church is excited about it, and I don't know what they've told the community yet, but yeah, we're just trying to get through all the processes.
Yeah. So much growth out that area.
Yeah. I guess one thing that would be helpful is if we, I don't know the position that you can have to help navigate these variances to support the end goals. I think maybe that would be a question.
Joel. So his question is can this commission comment to the Board of Zoning Appeals on the variance requests? So,
no.
Right.
Yeah.
I did just want to add, though, we actually had this instance come up on another historic property, actually the Hutchinson House on Edisto Island. So different context, of course. That's a historic home on Edisto Island. And similar to what you've kind of described, that was always an open buffer. And it overlooked the marsh over there. And so that was all reflected in the staff report. And ultimately, they did achieve an approval for that request. So different situation, but kind of a similar.
I will say, as the applicant to the Board of Zoning Appeals, I think I would take advantage of the fact that this was presented to the as a workshop item to the Historic Preservation Commission. You relayed to the commission the variances that you were requesting, and you did not hear any opposition. What I was saying no to was
fair enough.
This board should not be contacting another board. Right.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Were there any members of the public that wanted to speak?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I don't
so
think you'd get very far.
if there is no further discussion from commission members, this Historic Preservation Commission workshop stands adjourned. The Historic Preservation Commission will hold a meeting on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in council chambers. Thank you.
I do.